Hey guys, happy Thursday. Hope you're all doing well. Yesterday, if you remember, on Wednesday, we were talking about the different kinds of blood circulation and hearts found in different animals. So we talked about a fish and how it circulates blood through its body. And then we got into the next slide here, which is on your notes as well. And this one talked about reptiles and amphibians with their chambered hearts and how that blood circulates through their body. And then we got into the last type, which would be mammals and birds, and how blood circulated through their heart and how those hearts are each a little bit different. Um, so that was slide 31. Then I asked you guys to go onto a Jamboard, which looked exactly like this, and go ahead and input some information after you watch that video. And then it is good to take that information and put it back in your notes. And I'll just show you a few of them. So here's 1 hour. I feel like it's definitely a little bit lacking. You only have 3 things on here, right? Another hour. This one looks pretty full. It's not all full up. This one is a little sparse as well. And then this one looks like it's pretty full with a lot of information. This one's all right. So I guess a few of the hours just seem to be doing okay, and then a few of the hours participated pretty minimally. Like, look at this, third hour has 3 things added to this. So I did want to go through some of these, and I'm going to mainly focus, I think, on this one, because this one has probably the most on here. Let's just see what we got. I'll kind of zoom in and zoom around. So let's look at just the frog here. It says frog has oxygen-poor blood and oxygen-rich blood. They mix together. That's true. It mixes together in the ventricle, and you can see that in your notes. When we look at this slide here, we get that purpley blood when the blood mixes. And then we also have here deoxygenated mixed blood, 3-chambered heart. All those things are good. Fish and frog share 1 ventricle. That's totally right. Fish have 1 ventricle, so do frogs and reptiles. We get on here, frog. Well, let's focus on that group then. Let's go over here to fish. Fish do have a 2-chambered heart. They have 1 atrium and 1 ventricle. The heart gets oxygen-poor blood only, which is absolutely true. And they have 1 ventricle and 1 atrium. Okay, sounds good. What does the frog and the bird and mammals share, or the human? Oxygen-rich blood returns to the heart. That is true. They have 2 atriums, also very true. And then what's unique about a mammal or a bird? They have a closed wall between left and right ventricles. Yep, they have 2 ventricles, which is also unique. They have a 4-chambered heart. They get 2 heartbeats to pump that oxygen-rich blood to the body. Great. I think that's all pretty good. You could also add over here, there's some additional things. So this one says, I'm going to say oxygen-rich blood makes its way to the body, right? Makes its way to the body. And I will find that here and pull that over to the fish and the frog, or fish and the human, because they definitely share that together. The red oxygen-rich blood makes its way out to the body. Okay, and then something that they all share. Well, these guys are all a little bit different from a lot of the rest of life. So these guys all have multi-chambered hearts. So some animals just have basically like a squeezy ball, if you will, just like 1 chamber in it, and it pulls blood in and squeezes it and pushes it out the other. So these are animals with multiple chambers in their hearts, and they are all also vertebrates. They're things with a backbone like you and I. So I think this is a pretty good kind of diagram. It's kind of what I was looking for from most of the hours. Again, I think 2nd hour did an okay job. They do all have capillaries. They do all have atriums and ventricles. The fish has a 2-chambered heart. 4th hour looks pretty good. It's my 3rd and 5th hour that are looking a little bit sparse, I think. Some of these I did go through, and if I saw things that were not accurate, I just removed them so other people didn't see them. So just a heads up. So other things going on today, we are going to start to move on to the next unit, which is the digestive system. So you could think eating your food, I love this little one here where the guy like goes in through the mouth and he's all blue and he goes through all the digestive system organs and he comes out like a little brown guy because it's poop. But you can think about your stomach and what you do, and today I'd like to briefly touch on that book. So, starting the digestive system, and this is how you get energy. There's a couple types of digestion, and I probably should star these because they definitely are things that you'll be asked about. But there's one type of digestion, and it's called mechanical digestion. You can think of mechanically breaking apart your food, and so most of the animals that you're probably familiar with use teeth in order to do that. So we got our bunny there on that GIF or GIF or whatever you want to call it, chewing and chewing and chewing. These animals I picked for a reason. They are known to chew a lot. And that's because the food they eat, the veggies, they're really, really hard to get the nutrients out of the cells. You can think about eating grass. If people did that, we just would not get enough nutrients and we'd die, okay? If that's all that we ate. So these guys eat leafy material, things like grass, things like leaves, and they need to chew an awful lot in order to break the cells apart. Grass and wood and sticks and hay, they have a lot of cell walls in them. We call that fiber, and it's hard to digest and get through that stuff to the good things that you need inside the cell. So they chew and they chew and they chew and they chew, and sometimes they swallow and they expose that food to acid, and then they throw it back up in their mouth and they chew it some more. So lots of mechanical digestion happening here. Okay. Speaking of the acid, that's another type of digestion. We call that chemical digestion, and that is acid and enzymes. Those are chemicals that are involved in snipping or breaking down the food and chemically at a chemical level, actually cutting apart the molecules. So this part takes place in your stomach, but it also starts in your mouth. If you ever put sugar or like a cracker in your mouth and notice that it does kind of dissolve and that you don't actually have to chew it. I mean, think about yeah, I don't know, putting that cracker in your mouth. Your saliva has enzymes that break down carbohydrates, and the cracker will kind of like dissolve in your mouth, or so will a piece of bread as well. That is chemical digestion happening, and it starts in your mouth, the same place that mechanical digestion starts. Oh, going back to them, I guess I forgot to say this is what you're from. Chewing is what you're familiar with for most animals, but not all animals chew. A good example would be like a bird. Though birds don't really have any teeth to chew, and maybe you see some birds, they hop on a road or something like that, or you'll see them like, walking around on the beach, and they look like they may pick something up. And they definitely do, because birds ingest little tiny pebbles, little tiny rocks, pieces of sand, things like that, and they swallow them. But they go to something called the gizzard first, and the gizzard is this tough, muscular organ in their digestive system, and it holds all these rocks inside of it. And then when they swallow food whole or in pieces, large pieces, if they're tearing it apart like a raptor or a hawk would. When they swallow that food, they don't chew it, And what happens is it goes to the gizzard, and there the muscles squeeze the rocks against the food. To gross you out a little bit, the next thing I'm going to show you is that gizzard. So maybe if you want to skip over this part if you're grossed out, but yeah, birds have this tough muscular thing, and it has rocks in it, and so I think we got a little picture of it here, sliced open. This is a tough piece of muscle, and you actually see little stones inside of it, and it's there to break apart the food, since birds don't have teeth to do that. So yeah, that's happening. That's a type of mechanical digestion that does not involve teeth, but we also do chemical digestion as well. So just a brief little overview of some of the organs real quick that we're going to touch on, because there's a few of them. You're going to focus on the stomach, the pancreas, the liver, the gallbladder, and the small intestine and the large intestine, and go through their functions. And then at the end, we're going to kind of compare that to our frog, we would love to do the dissection, but we're not going to do that. And then I'm going to have you guys go ahead and do a Venn diagram like we did before. I do have a frog dissection video that I could maybe link on YouTube so you can see how we did it, but I'll do that a little bit later. It's kind of a bummer that you guys don't get to do these things, but a lot of sacrifices being made for COVID. Take care. There's a quiz on Classroom that I'd like you to take, and it's on the heart. So if you want to review your heart notes, things that are up here starred in the circulatory system, maybe do that before you take that quiz. Okay, good luck. Stay safe.